Today's lesson is another lesson on syllable division. Now today though, we're going to be dividing between two vowels with only one consonant in the middle. This gets a little bit trickier. When we divide words into syllables, the first thing we do is find our vowels. If there are consonants in between our vowels, we know that that word is going to be broken up into more than one syllable. So let's look at this word. How would we break this word into syllables? The very first thing we have to do is find our vowels. So I have two vowels, but notice I only have one consonant in between. When I have two in between, it's usually pretty easy because we just separate those two consonants. But when there's only one, it's a little trickier. Now, there's different ways to do this, and we have to be really, really flexible because it's not always the same way. But most of the time, in about 60% of words, you're going to separate the word after the first vowel and move the consonant to the second syllable. So it would look like this. So if I split right after my vowel, I have an open syllable here. And we know an open syllable has a long vowel sound. So here I would have E. Then I would look at my second syllable, and if you notice, I have a closed syllable because I have consonants after my vowel. So that means my vowel here is going to make the short sound E. So if I tap that out, it's v, e, nt, vent. If I put my syllables together, I get event. Let's try another one. How about this word? How would we break this one into two syllables? Very first thing we always do is find our vowels. So I have an E and I have an O. Now I also have an E at the end, but we know E's at the end of a word, those are silent. So I'm not even going to look at that one for this word. I need to separate between my E and my O. Okay, I have one consonant in between. Now remember, I said most of the time we're going to try to separate right after our vowel. So let's do that. Okay, that leaves me with an open syllable here because my vowel is at the end of the syllable, so it's a long sound. D, E, D. If we look at the other side, oh, I see a vowel consonant E pattern. I know that that E is going to help my vowel make its long sound and say O. So in this syllable, I have k-ode, code. If I put my two syllables together, I get decode. That's my word, decode. Let's try one more. All right, how would we break this word into two syllables? First thing we do is we find our vowels. All right, I have an I and a U, and if you look, we have that silent E at the end again, right? So looking at this word, I said usually we go ahead and split right after the first vowel. So looking at that, that would give me a long I, and I would have phi. Okay, I have a vowel consonant E pattern, so that would be g, your, figure. Wait a minute. I don't know that word figure. Remember, when we just have one consonant in between our vowels, we have to be flexible with our decoding. Figure isn't a word I know. What if I split it after the G instead? Now I have a closed syllable here, and this says fig, and then that would say your. Figure. That's a word I know. Figure. So, when you only have one consonant in the middle of a word, in between your two vowels, you're going to have to be flexible. If you're not sure, the very first thing I want you to do is try dividing after that vowel. Give it a long sound and see how it sounds. If it doesn't sound like a word you know, go ahead and change it. Switch it so you're dividing after your consonant and do a closed syllable here with a short vowel. Figure. So, spelling, you're just going to have to remember to do our pound and tap spelling method, okay? So here's my word, detail. So I would pound it, detail. When it's time to spell that word, I'm going to spell D, D-E. I know how to spell that, D-E. And then my second syllable is detail. I can spell tail, T-A-L. I know T says T, and we use A-I for that A sound in the middle, and O is L at the end, detail. I hope this helps you with your reading and spelling and splitting words into 2 syllables.